Okay, I'll call to order this regular session of the City of Leavenworth Planning Commission. We do have a quorum, and we have a new member. Welcome. The commissioners have received copies of the minutes from the December 5th meeting. Are there any corrections or additions to be made to the minutes? If not, I'll take a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the minutes as presented from the previous meeting.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
A motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Old business, sign ordinance. Staff report.
Okay, this is our update to the sign regulations, Article 8 in the development regs. We've been going over this for a few months. The sign subcommittee has met a few times, and the full commission has reviewed this a couple of times as well. So this most recent draft would be the final draft. It incorporates all of the changes that we've gone over in the past meetings. Hopefully I've captured everything. We were contacted by Ann Hoynes with Young Sign Company. She was a little bit concerned with the size restriction for the electronic message signs. We've changed that down to 32 square feet, and she felt like that was a little bit small. I did remind her that any applicant would have the opportunity to apply for a variance if they felt that their situation warranted it. But I told her that I would make you all aware that that was her comment regarding that. So if there are any questions or other changes that you have, we can go over that. Otherwise, it's ready to move forward. If you're happy with the way it's presented, after you vote on it tonight, it will go to the City Commission for final approval and adoption to be included in the development regulations.
Any questions for Ms. Hurley on the staff report? Is this will this be a public hearing?
This is a public hearing, yes.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so we'll go ahead and open the hearing at this time to the public. If anybody'd like to speak for or against the proposed changes, please come up to the podium and give us your name and address. There is no one. The public hearing is closed. Any discussion among the staff? Or excuse me, among the commissioners?
I believe that those previous changes to regulating Christmas lights and holiday lights was taken out.
I believe that was the intent, to make sure the language indicated that we were not regulating Christmas lights or decorations.
Anything else? Once again, I want to congratulate the subcommittee and the staff on a fine job in reviewing this and coming up with these administrative changes. That being said, I'll go ahead and take a motion at this time. We can either approve this going forward to the City Commission for final approval, we can table it, or we can recommend this approval to the City Commission. Your work.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the sign ordinance as presented by the staff and move that forward to the City Commission.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Unanimous.
Okay.
New business. Item 1 is the election of officers. We elect a chairman and a vice chairman. The procedure we normally use is elect a chairman first.
Just as a reminder, Frank Wenzel was our vice chairman, and with his resignation, we do have that spot open, so there is no current vice chair, and of course, Mr. Byrne is the chairman.
Basically, we accept a motion for a nomination, and if the motion is seconded, that individual becomes a nominee. Then we vote for chairman and do the same thing for vice chairman. So at this time, I'll accept a motion for a nominee for chairman of the Planning Commission.
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Jay Byrne for the position of chair.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional motions? Okay, we have a motion for Jay Byrne to continue as the chair. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed? Unanimous. Same procedure for vice chair. I'll accept a motion at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend Pat McGlynn for the position of vice chair.
I will note that Mr. McGlynn has indicated that he would not like to renew his term when it expires in May.
All right.
Other commitments. Might as well. Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I would like to recommend Mike Burke for the position of vice chair.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any other nominees? Any other motions? The motion is for Mr. Burke as vice chair. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed?
It's unanimous.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Item number 2, 2016-19, special use permit, 3611 Shrine Park. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you said, this is a request for a special use permit to allow a child care center at 3611 Shrine Park Road. The applicants have been operating a child care center here for approximately 4 years, and we're unaware of the need for a city approval for this, and so they've come in and gone through the process with us. They are licensed by the state of Kansas to care for up to 12 children at a time. The license that's in your packet expired at the end of November. They do have that renewed, and we will be getting a copy of their current license here upon your vote, just to keep you in the loop on that. There are a number, or there are 6 conditions of determination for a child care center. I'll just go through those briefly. The first is that it shall not be located along an arterial street. Shrine Park is designated as a collector street, so that condition is met. The second is that there shall be at least 100 square feet of outdoor open space per child, and the space needs to be 100% enclosed by a minimum 4-foot-high fence or wall. The fenced-in backyard is approximately 5,300 square feet, so that is in excess of the 1,200 square feet that would be required at a minimum. The third is that they need to provide a minimum accommodation for at least 2 automobiles off-street for parking. Their driveway can accommodate 4 to 6 vehicles in it to be parked off of Shrine Park. The fourth is that they conform to all requirements by the state of Kansas, and that they have a state of Kansas license. As I indicated, that they have been licensed and they have had that renewed, so they do have that requirement met. The fifth is that it shall be the legal residence of the operator, so can't buy a house and live somewhere else and operate the child care center in their house. This is the residence of the applicants. And the final is that they may have 1 non-illuminated sign up to 3 square feet. They did have a sign up at one point, and I believe that's how they came in. They got written up for their sign. The sign is not up as of this moment, but if they would like to put a sign back up, they can have up to that 3 square foot sign. So those are the specific requirements for a child care center. There are the standard special use permit requirements that must be met. I'll run through those briefly as well. The first is that the proposed special use complies with all applicable provisions of the ordinance. Staff does find that to be the case. The second is that the proposed special use at the location will contribute to and promote the economic development, welfare, or convenience of the public. Staff does recognize that child care centers are a vital part of the local economy in allowing people to work. The third is that the special use will not cause substantial injury to the value of other property in the neighborhood in which it is located. Staff does not feel that that would be the case, as it has been in operation for a number of years, and we've received no complaints from neighboring property owners. The fourth is that the location and size of the special use, the nature and intensity of the operation, and the location of the site will not dominate the immediate neighborhood. Staff does not feel that it would dominate the neighborhood. There are no changes proposed. It is a single-family residence with no additions or changes to the exterior. So those are the requirements for special use. Staff would recommend approval of the special use permit with the conditions listed out in the staff report. And that would be that we have a copy of their annual license provided to us as that is renewed. The second is that the operation be limited to a maximum of 12 children or less if they're licensed for less by the state. And then 3, that no additional home occupations are carried out at the residence. If you have any questions, I can answer those, and the applicants are here as well.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Hogan on the staff report?
My only concern was traffic. And Shrine Park can get pretty busy, and it's not the widest thoroughfare in the city, but you do have a wide driveway and pretty deep. I drove by it yesterday, and so, but that's my only concern, just to manage the cars so they're not on the street, dropping the kids off.
Excuse me, sir, you'll get a chance to talk in just a second. This is just questions to the staff right now.
So that was just my comment, that I think it's great to have a business in your home, but just going through the mechanics of dropping the kids off and picking them up, ensuring their safety has to be considered. And it is, I'm sure.
Does the, I don't remember this coming up before, and maybe it is not an issue. My understanding is the applicants do not own the house. Is that a requirement, or has that been a requirement in the past?
It's not a requirement that they be the owners. It is allowed for a rental property as long as the applicants are living in that residence.
And the limit to 12, does that include their own children? Are they included in that number?
That would include any children that they have, yes.
Any other questions on the staff report?
So there were no responses from neighbors?
We had no
notifications?
contact from the neighbors after they were notified.
Well, they would be the ones to know then, so, okay.
Okay, barring any disagreements, the staff report is accepted as presented. This is a public hearing, so we'll open the public hearing at this time. And anybody who'd like to speak for or against the special use permit request, please go up to the podium and give us your name and your address.
My name is Liberty Hazelton, and me and my wife live at 3611 Shrine Park, and we co-own the child care facility together. And now I just speak on. I want to apologize to everybody first of all, like I've already done to them several times. If I'd have known that this was something that we needed to do when we set up our operation 4.5, almost 5 years ago, it would have completely been something that would have been on our agenda first and foremost to do, because I wouldn't have wanted to invested so much time and so much money, and you just invest a lot with all these little children too. So if I would have known that this was something that I had to get done first and foremost, I definitely would have done that. So I'd like to apologize to y'all for that first. And I'm hopeful that you guys will pass this for me, I guess. This is how we take care of our children. We love doing this. We love being within the community networked with the parents and being able to mold and shape little individuals. Me and my wife have been together since we was 14 years old. We've been married since 1998. She's Catholic, I'm Christian. We're both very religious, so I don't know what else to say. Nervous, sorry. I don't do this monthly, I guess.
Any questions for Mr. Hazel? Obviously, from the documentation you provided, it's obvious that you take it very seriously as far as the various legal requirements that are needed. So,
Right.
appreciate that. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else like to speak for or against the special use request? Okay, if not, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion among the commissioners?
I do have one question, I guess, that just came up. So, sir, when you first came in, you were talking about you want to start a business where you're going to do your home detail, or on mobile detailing business.
Right.
And I just noticed that it says no additional home occupations may be carried out at the residence.
That's not going to be a home occupation. I'm actually, let me come back to the point.
Yes, please, just so they can pick you up on the mic.
I'm actually working with the city of Lansing right now, and I have a piece of property that I'm looking at right next to the Mesa restaurant. There's an American Family Insurance that they just set up. His name's Trent Peters, the owner, and he's got property that he's trying to help me build from the ground up. So I'm working with the city of Lansing too. I'll probably be having to sit in another meeting with them shortly, I guess.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, if not, I'll take a motion. We have 3 options. One is that based upon the findings as stated and the conditions as presented, to recommend approval to the city commission with the included conditions, which should be part of the motion. Recommend denial to the city commission, or to table for additional information.
I move that we recommend approval of special use permit 2016-19 for a daycare center, child care center, special use permit at 3611 Shrine Park Road with the conditions as recommended by staff.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Unanimous? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
You, ladies,
Thanks.
for all your help.
Thanks, guys.
I appreciate it. I will get that to you first thing in the morning. If not, I'll drive up here and give you. Thank you,
All right,
gentlemen.
thanks.
Have a good night.
Item number 3 under new business. 2016-20 special use permit on 510 South 5th Street. Staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a special use permit request to allow a bakery in a district-zoned office business. A bakery or food service is allowed with a special use permit in the office business district, hence the nature of the request. The applicants are requesting the special use to allow their bakery operation here at 510 South 5th Street. The property is zoned office business, like I said. It's surrounded by a mix of uses, including the DaVita Dialysis Center to the north. The property across the street to the east houses the KVC Behavioral Health, and the Carnegie Lofts are to the south a little bit. So there is a mix of uses. They are just a couple of blocks south of the central business district. If they happen to be located in the central business district, they would not have needed the special use permit. They also did request a variance to allow reduction in the number of parking spaces. That hearing did take place with the Board of Zoning Appeals last month. That was approved pending your approval of their special use permit request tonight. So the applicants are here. They can maybe elaborate a little bit on the nature of their business, what type of bakery they'll be running. If you have any questions for me, I can answer those, and they can answer some questions as well.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Hurley on the staff report? What are now the approved number of parking spaces that they have?
They were approved for 0 on-site parking spaces. The Board of Zoning Appeals felt that there was sufficient on-street parking in the vicinity that they did not need to add on-site parking.
Any other question reference to staff report?
Can we assume that a notice went out to all of the neighbors and nobody?
Yes, correct. We received no correspondence from the neighboring property owners after they were notified.
Does that require a special use permit too for off-site parking?
No, that was why they went to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So they got the variance to not require the on-street parking.
Okay.
Okay, pending any disagreement, we'll accept the staff report as presented. This is a public hearing, and we'll open it at this time. Anybody who'd like to speak for or against the proposed special use, please come up to the podium and give us your name and your address.
Hello, my name is Galen Peak. My wife and I bought the building about 2 years ago with the intention, it wasn't being used at the time. Nothing was being done with it. So we intended to purchase it, renovate it, and start a small artisan bakery. My wife is from Prague. We were going to do some European breads, hopefully, and that's about it. We bought the building next to it also, thinking it might alleviate some of the parking and eventually rehab that, kind of, do something out of there. We didn't know that we would have a problem with the retail since it was commercial before. We actually inquired about it prior to purchasing, and they said, no, it shouldn't be a problem, so.
Seller told you that.
Say again?
The seller told you that.
Well, no, actually, we came up here. We asked a few people. We asked many before any money exchange hands.
Yeah.
And we were told, oh, no, it's commercial, so go for it.
Sir, is this a bakery where you just go in and buy things and leave, or
Yeah,
will there be?
we would love to have a sit-in, but the space requirements, it won't allow it. So it's just going to be just a,
Over the counter?
yeah, over the counter. Come in, make your purchase and leave.
We really don't have a full-service bakery in town, do we?
No.
No,
That's
not since-
completed.
The one next to Luigi's is still,
I mean,
Yeah.
some have a little bit of this, some have a little bit of that, yeah, nothing like the town bakery that
Right.
we used to have years back.
Hearth's
Or
Bakery.
Unger's.
Yeah.
We asked, and we kind of did that. We did a little bit of a study.
Good.
So
How much,
feasibility.
how much parking do you see that you have on the street to, basically to support your business?
Well, we have from the corner up to the red line here. So it's like easily 3 cars, 4 cars could park there.
And there is signage on the street indicating that it's parking for the businesses right
Yeah.
there, so it is.
And that was from
Used.
the old building.
Yeah, what had
that
been
we-
there before,
Yeah.
so it is utilized for the parking.
And is parking allowed on the street to the north too?
It
Yeah, it
is.
is.
Well,
Yep, that whole stretch of Fifth, parking is allowed.
And you bought that little red building next to it?
Yeah, yeah. They were using it as, well, part of the purchase was from, we had drainage issues into our building. They weren't going to do anything to the building next to it, which caused some of the drainage
Yeah.
issues, so it became more, it was a better idea for us to purchase it and work on it, correct that property's drainage issue, which affected ours, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Any discussion among the commissioners?
I see.
I just about given up on you. That sign's been in that window for
Yeah,
years.
coming
Right there.
That's
They
optimism.
belong in Dayton.
You've been busy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. With the 9 to 5, and then with the boys for the weekends, it's their time. So
We wish we can work on it
Yeah.
in the evenings and the weekends and doing night, but it's not possible.
yeah, I did all my tile at most at like 2:30 in the morning, 2:30 to 4:30, and then roll out for work. So
Any other discussion? Sounds like a great use to me.
Yeah, we need a bakery.
Okay, we have, accept a motion at this time. We have 3 options. One is to, based upon the findings as stated and the conditions as presented, to recommend approval to the city commission of the special use permit. Second option is to recommend denial to the city commission. A third is to table the issue for additional information. I'll take a motion at this time. We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Unanimous. Good
Hope
luck.
you do well. Good luck to you.
thank you. I have a question for you guys though. While you're all here, we're going to really try to make a good of it. But if it wouldn't, what could we do? Could we retail out of it? It won't be a bakery anymore. Will it have to go to zoning again for retail?
Yeah, the approval
something.
tonight is for a bakery
Okay.
in the office business. Otherwise, yeah, I don't think any retail is allowed. Look here real quick. And I can give you this list of uses that would be allowed.
There have been retail just up the street in the last couple of years.
Depends on what you were wanting to sell. Some retail is allowed in the zoning district, some is not. So I can get you a copy of this.
Okay, yeah, I hope it would never come to that, but,
Yes,
you know,
things happen.
Thank you.
yeah, okay, thank you.
Do you have anything else for the commission, Ms. Early?
I will just let you know that we're in the process of revising the regulations regarding cell phone towers, and that's based on some legislation that the state passed last year that actually went into effect in October. So cities statewide are having to kind of hurry and get our regulations up to par with what the state has required now. So as we get that written, I will be sending that out to you all to keep you in the loop on where that's going. Basically, the state essentially is taking some power away from the cities and what we can regulate regarding cell towers. And we have one coming up for next month, and we just had the one come through, so it is sort of timely that we make sure our regulations are in line with what the state is requiring. So I will probably have a draft of that at least next month to show you all as we're talking about the cell tower application.
What will we be applying next month? The existing city?
We'll be applying the existing regulations, and what the application that we've got in right now, the new state legislation would not affect what we're hearing. Mainly what the state is required, it affects the city being required to allow cell towers in right-of-way, public-owned right-of-way, how we can look at any variances that they might be requesting. As you recall, the cell tower that just got approved that you heard a few months ago over off Spruce, they requested that reduction in the setback, so that will be affected a little bit. So but the one that's going to come before you next month would not be affected by any change required by the state legislation.
What is the development that's happening at 20th and Eisenhower? There's a lot of grading, and they finally put a drive into the site.
Sure, that's, as you know, the new business park got approved there, just a little bit east of that intersection of 20th and Eisenhower. And the owners are planning to develop the land west of that, so towards Eisenhower along 20th, with some commercial property and then residential back and behind that. We haven't seen any plans or plat applications yet. Last I heard was that they were planning to get a plat to us in March possibly, so we'll have that before you hopefully pretty soon.
Okay.
But they have gotten their
It's not a planned
permits to do
development
that.
then?
What's that?
It's not a planned development, it's
No.
going to be separate lots? Okay.
Yes, so, yeah, we haven't seen any plans on it yet, but they have gotten their permits to do the grading work and just start getting that leveled off so that as they do get their approvals from this body and the city commission, we'll be a little bit closer to moving forward.
Well, we've been getting really serious down there.
They're moving
A
some
lot of dirt
dirt.
around.
They're moving some dirt.
Julie, has the city looked at recycling recently? Residential recycling, like Lansing and Fort?
I don't believe that has been reviewed, to my knowledge.
I think it's really an oversight, that city our size, that we have not looked at or we're not looking at recycling.
Sure, like the curbside, like some
Yeah.
other cities provide the collection bins.
Right.
Would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah, all,
Lansing's doing it, the Fort's doing
Okay.
it, and we're kind of nestled right in the center.
sure. Yeah, I'll pass
We
that
can
along.
take things to the recycling center, but
Right.
it's short
no
hours,
pickup.
short days that they're open, so.
Right, yeah, I'll pass that along to our Public Works
Okay.
Department. They manage the solid waste, and so I'll
Yeah.
let them know that
I'm
that
sure
was-
they've looked at it, but, you know, this might be
And
something,
I couldn't tell you what the discussion had been, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'll let
Right.
them know that the planning commission brought that up.
okay, good, thank you.
Anything else from the commissioners? Okay, thank you. We're adjourned.
Okay.
KUK State. 8 o'clock.